Wow, thank you so much. That was so beautiful. Thank you, Justin, and to the band for sharing your gifts and talents and treasures with us, touching us deeply in the heart. And as you have noticed, I have the candles lit. If you missed it on Tuesday night, we did the honoring of many paths. And it is recorded on YouTube, so I invite you to go back to that and watch that. It was very heartfelt and touching, and it was just a magnificent program that you all put on, so thank you. So today we are continuing with our December theme, Journey of Becoming. We started the month with Reverend Rainbow talking about surrender is action. It is an ongoing practice in our lives that we are consciously letting go of trying to change and control the things in our lives, and instead moving towards acceptance. Then the next week, Reverend Sunny talked about the joy of becoming. Through surrender, we clear the resistance and prepare ourselves to be open to more joy, knowing that our being is a necessary part of the unfolding of the divine. There's no rush. There's no need to control or to manipulate. You are already connected in, as, and through Spirit, so that you can rest in that knowingness. And then last week, Reverend Rainbow talked about the topic of the gift of a new journey. That our past does not have to dictate our future, because spiritual principle is not bound by precedent. It is unbound. We have the power within us to change any given situation in our lives as we shift our awareness and be open to new perspectives. We can evaluate what no longer serves us and let it go and be open to receive the gifts of this new year coming up and in this now moment. So for the last 3 weeks, we have been discussing this journey of becoming. Why do we want to become anything? Becoming is a process, not a destination. We are always becoming. That divine urge to grow and to get out of our comfort zone is what's that little voice inside us is speaking to us. And as the saying goes, life begins at the edge of our comfort zone. We have the choice to follow that urge within us, or we can ignore it. Ernest Holmes, the founder of our Science of Mind teachings, says we can sit in the shade or move into the sunshine. Getting out of our comfort zone can be like waking up from a deep sleep and venturing out into the morning light. So that leads us to this week's topic, the light of a new dawn. Rumi says, there's a morning inside you waiting to be burst open with light. So this topic is going to have two parts today. First, I'm going to talk about my process of becoming, and I'm going to share with you how that process has manifested in my own life. And then the second part will be how we can all contribute to our Centers for Spiritual Living global vision, which is a world that works for everyone. So 12 years ago, I would have never believed I'd be standing here in front of you today. And a lot has happened in the last 12 years. I have grown tremendously. Before I attended Ahava, I was blinded by my childhood beliefs and bound to my life experiences. I didn't know how to let it go. No matter how much I tried to ignore it, to push it in the past, to run away from it, it was always there. Even though I tried to be a positive person on the outside, I was so miserable within, and I didn't know what to do about it. Dr. Ernest Holmes says we have thought that outside things controlled us, when all the time we have had that which could have changed everything and had given us freedom from bondage. There is no power in the universe but ourselves that can free us. So all this time, I had the power all along. So I married a man that attended a religious science center in Florida a few years ago. He was really looking forward to Reverend Sonny coming into town and asked me if I would attend Ahava with him. And I said yes, with hesitancy. So after the first visit, I still wasn't sure if this was what was right for me. But I kept feeling this magnetic pull of my soul to keep going back. And I did. I listened to that, and I kept going back. With a deep desire to change my life for the better, I started taking a class, and then another, and then another, and then another. And before I knew it, I had taken all the classes that I needed to be for all the I had taken all the classes and the prerequisites that were needed to sign up for practitioner training. So with a deep desire to change my life for the better, this is what I did. I came into Ahava with so many questions. Who am I? What's life all about? How do I make my life work for me? Ahava introduced me to a science and philosophy of life that actually felt right and made sense to me. My perspectives changed as I began to look at my life differently. I questioned my beliefs and I let go of some that no longer served me. For example, my childhood beliefs about a judgmental, revengeful God who is sitting on a throne up in the sky and happened to be a male were totally destroyed. And that was just the tip of the iceberg. Some of those old beliefs were so deeply ingrained and still resurface from time to time. So as I said, before long, I had completed those prerequisites and to start practitioner training. And honestly, at that time, I didn't believe I was good enough to be a practitioner. Yet others knew differently. They saw the potential in me that I could not see for myself. They believed in me when I could not believe in myself. Deep down, I knew this was something I needed to do and that it would help me heal. So it was time to take another leap of faith, and I signed up for it. And boy, was I ever out of my comfort zone. 3 years later, I started ministerial training. Most of my classes were challenging, and some more difficult than others. Each class took me deeper and deeper and challenged one belief after another. Philosophy, paradigms of consciousness, world religions were really challenging for me and made me question my ability to complete the program. I felt like I was being pulled apart and then put back together again. I was being opened up to every thought and belief and experience that has happened, and I laid it out on the table to examine it. What's working for me now and what is not? I had to decide that. So some things changed and others didn't. And we put all that stuff back inside me, and here I am. New ideas and beliefs replaced the old. But even in the excitement of change, this was not always a comfortable process to go through. My mind wanted to keep wanted to keep flipping back to what was familiar and comfortable. Change takes time. Sometimes I felt like I was taking one step forward and 2 steps back. In times like these, I reached out to my mentor and to practitioners for prayer and guidance and support. And I was reminded of how far I have come. I did my spiritual practices and hung positive affirmations all over my room to remind me of the truth of who I am. And I hit the restart button so many times throughout this process. By taking these steps, I persevered to the end. My oral panels are at the end of February, and once I pass my oral panels, I will become a licensed Centers for Spiritual Living minister. And I breathe. So I know what it's like to walk through that darkness. I know what it's like to keep going. I know what it's like to reach out and ask for help. And I know what it's like to not give up. And I didn't have to do it alone. Many of you have been with me through my journey throughout this whole time. And I couldn't have done it without you. You see, we're all in this together. Many times people would walk up to me and say, Cynthia, I prayed for you every day this week. Or I've been praying for you, and I'd say, keep praying. I need every prayer I can get. And that's what helped me get through. You cannot imagine what that meant to me to hear those words when I was going through some of the most challenging times in my life. Throughout the ministerial school, I was asked, why did I want to become a minister? Yes, I felt the call to do so, and I was following that call. But really, I did it for myself. I did it to have greater awareness of my spiritual magnificence, so I can use that creative power within me to create a life of my dreams. In order to help others and create a world that works for all, I have to take care of myself first. I allow myself to be guided by my higher wisdom self and embrace the truth of who I am. Every day I'm consciously creating my life. Every day I joyfully let my light shine for all the world to see. Every step is like the light of a new dawn. I am so excited to share my gifts, talents, and treasures with the world. So I urge you to follow yourself. I urge you to allow yourself to be guided by your higher wisdom self and to listen to that voice within. Sometimes that voice may sound like a whisper, and other times it's a shout. Consider what happens when you don't listen to it. Does it come back and nag you? Is your life all that you want it to be? Or is there something you want to accomplish? Do you want to remain where you are now? Or is there something else that keeps calling you from deep within your soul? Imagine how your life would be different if you followed that urge and it led you to a place where the view is so much different. Picture all the old stuff being cleared out and picture yourself seeing with new eyes. Imagine being free from all of the I can'ts that held you back. What does that look like? What's different about that picture? And how does that new picture make you feel? When we experience spiritual growth, our actions create a ripple effect that goes out into the world. Every Sunday, we recite our vision. We are an inclusive community committed to global transformation through personal evolution. And that's exactly what it is. It's a personal evolution. It's something that you get to do on your own. Teachers open the door for us, but it's up to us to walk through that door. Because nobody can experience that but you. Nobody can tell you what it's going to be like as you go through that process. And it's a long process, and it can be a hard and challenging process. But I encourage you not to give up and hit that restart button when you need to. And we also enthusiastically support our CSL vision for a world that works for all. But this world is an outgrowth that comes from a spiritual process of each individual. So how do we contribute to it? We start by recognizing that we are the unique, divine, perfect, unrepeatable expressions of God. But recognizing it is not enough. We need to embrace it and we need to act like it. As you live from this consciousness, you manifest joyous possibilities and unified conditions into existence. As we grow spiritually, we become better at manifesting and creating our future, yes? In creating our future, we also become the ancestors of the generations of those that will follow. How you treat yourself and speak to others speaks volumes as to the way that you're going to be remembered. Will you be the ancestor spoken as blazing the trail for growth? What will they say about you? Reverend Rainbow reminded us that principle is not bound by precedent and that the past does not have to be our present. The only purpose for the past serves to remind us what not to do. The first time it's a mistake, the second time it's a decision. And we may continue to make that decision over and over again until it changes, until we gain a new perspective. We can learn from our mistakes and make better decisions. And in doing so, our mistakes become our blessings. Think about how you talk to yourself. Do you ever tell yourself that you're stupid, you're unworthy, you're unlovable, unattractive, or poor? Where does that get you? The words we use are powerful. We can only hold on to one thought at a time, and by changing our thoughts, we change our results. So for the next week, monitor your self-talk. Every time you catch yourself saying something negative, replace it with a positive comment. But there's a catch. Do you really believe what you're proclaiming? Do you really believe that you are an expression of spirit, individual, like no one else? Do you really believe that spirit wants you to be the best you possible? If you really do, then I say it again. Act like it. Don't compare yourself to anyone else. Think about the gifts you have. And what do you bring to the table? How do you use those gifts to be of service? We can be spiritual activists, channeling our energies and actions with love into the cause that we feel passionate about. When each of us does that, we move closer and closer to a world that works for all. So how do we help ourselves in the process of becoming so that we can contribute to the world? First, you can join us next Sunday, as I mentioned earlier, and take part in our burning bowl ceremony. Release that which is no longer serving you to open your life up to more joy, more happiness. Open yourself up to create the life of your dreams. Next, I encourage you to take classes and do your spiritual practices. You can meditate, pray without ceasing every day, and vision. And if you're not sure what visioning is, next Sunday after service, Reverend Rainbow is going to be doing a visioning workshop, and you'll be able to learn more about it, experience that, and also make your own vision board for the year 2022. Next, you can open yourself up to the divine, that voice within you that speaks to you, whatever it may be, and follow where it leads, wherever it may go. It's not about comparing your life to anyone else's. Be your authentic self. If you want to run away and join the circus, run away and join the circus. If you want to publish a book, submit your work to a publisher. If you want to change jobs, do it. Do what makes you happy and brings you joy. Remember, you can hit the restart button as often as you need and know that everything is in divine order. It's in God's time. So this week I invite you to go within and ask yourself, what is seeking to be expressed through me in this upcoming year? Who am I becoming? And what is mine to do to create a world that works for everyone? And what does the best version of yourself look like? Let's go into prayer. So I just take this moment to go within, knowing that there is only one infinite source, so many endless possibilities. This infinite source that I know as God, as Spirit, as the one power, the one presence that speaks to me. And I know that each person here is that magnificent expression of God. That what each person is seeking them. That there are flowers, there are buds within each of us that are just waiting to be burst open and to let our fragrance be known. That every day, every minute of every day, we have a choice. That we can open ourselves up to the divine intelligence, to surrender all of those old thoughts, those beliefs that never got us anywhere. That we can now put our focus on what we want in our life. That we can manifest more joy in our lives. That we can use our time, our talents, and our treasures to create this world that works for all. For I know this divine urge lives in each of us. And all that we need to be is to be open. Be open and learn how to surrender. Learn how to surrender and let it all go. Knowing that beneath all of this is more happiness, more love, more peace, more joy, more harmony. That it's already there within each of us, waiting to be expressed. And I am so grateful to know this truth of each of us as we end this year, 2021, and step into a new dawn of the year 2022. That we create our lives and that we don't do it on our own. That there are so many around us there to hold our hands, to help us, to guide us along the way. So I'm grateful to know these truths as I release this prayer out into the law, knowing that it is already done, as I allow it to be by saying, and so it is.